All right, time is 12:05. I hope you got through part of the Fredo, and if you solved it, just put your name in the chat. We're going to kick off our Salmon webinar today. So just a quick round of introduction. My name is Hami. I am one of the product managers on the team and working on the finance team.
My name is Karan. I'm also a product manager here at Rose Rocket, and I'm working on the mobile team.
Perfect. Just a quick agenda for today. We're also going to be sending out a survey after this call to just kind of get your thoughts on whether this webinar was helpful and also gather your feedback on the feature. It is constantly evolving, so any if you have any suggestions or feedback on what we can do to make this feature better for you, we're very open to hearing it and incorporating it into our product development process. So for agenda for today, we're just going to talk about, why did we build this feature, how it works, a quick demo, and then we'll go into Q&A. So why did we build this feature? To be honest, the most straightforward answer is every carrier wanted to have this feature. It was one of the most popular requests for us from the last year or so. And the reason is because of how tedious and complex it is to manage driver pay and driver settlement for asset carriers. Something that we heard a lot was, I have a lot of drivers and they're all paid slightly differently. I've got company drivers that I employ who are salary. I've got owner operators who have separate contracts negotiated on a one-to-one basis. And then secondly, I also want to provide, timely and transparent pay communication to my drivers so they know how much they're getting paid, how it's calculated, and that really helps improve retention. And the last one is reducing the amount of overhead and manual data entry in order to calculate a pay statement. Before we kind of get into driver settlement, I wanted to kind of touch on how it used to work in Rose Rocket for those who run driver pay through Rose Rocket. So we have completed manifest, and the pay calculation on a completed manifest is calculated off of the driver's profile pay structure. So historically, we used to have to manually create the manifest bills and then group them into a consolidated pay bill. Then add fuel deductions manually, especially for those who work with owner operators who use a fuel card, and you have to charge back fuel purchases onto their pay. And finally, also recurring deductions, also very popular with those who work with owner operators. And that was how carriers would get to the final number, how much they would pay drivers, and repeat that across all of the drivers in the system. So it was definitely not a quick and easy process. So it was a lot of repetitive work. And so when we approached driver settlement, we wanted to think about how we can help to speed up that workflow. So from here, we wanted to turn it into complete manifest. We wanted to automate the generation of statements such that, if your pay period started on the 9th of April and ends tomorrow, we would be able to generate those statements automatically. So you get one every single week for every driver. And then completed manifests are automatically grouped into the statements the moment the pay gets reviewed and approved by you. Then we've also introduced fuel imports, and that allows us to map fuel purchases that matches the fuel card number on the driver's profile directly to settlement statements. Lastly, we've also introduced recurring deductions on the driver pay profile. So that allows us to automatically generate deductions and enter it into the settlement statement. And so from being able to doing this, from having to manually create deductions and manually create recurring deductions, you can now get a statement generated for you, and all you have to really do is review it and make sure it's correct and send it off to the driver. So to see how this works in real life, we're just going to go into a quick demo. So I'm going to start with a manifest that I'm going to dispatch to Karin. So I've got one made here. This starts today at 11 a.m. I'm going to send it to the mobile app. Apologies. I'm just going to move my computer so I can see my screen behind me. All right.
Okay, so to the right of the screen, you should see we've mirrored the mobile app. So myself as a driver, if I'm using the Rose Rocket Truck Driver mobile app, now that it's been dispatched, I can just go to my stops page, check for new orders, and you can see I have a new manifest here. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to complete this manifest. So I see one first pickup stop. I'll mark myself as arrived. And as you can see, my in time has been documented on the TMS. Go to complete tasks. Let me just go ahead and get a signature for this pickup. Save and complete this stop. So that's the pickup stop done. Let me go ahead and do the same thing for the delivery stop. Mark myself as arrived. Complete the tasks. One delivery task. I've already got my signature in there, so I'll just go ahead and complete stop. And that wraps up the manifest. So you can see this manifest is now fully complete. If I go over to my payments tab, what I can see is that I have, if I refresh, I can see I have a new bill created. This is an estimated pay breakdown for the manifest that I just completed. You can see the total as well as a breakdown of how the pay is coming from. This is just the estimated pay right now. We'll see how that updates as Hami goes ahead and creates the bill.
Awesome. So what we want to do next is just flip over to the driver settlement module and kind of just review quickly the manifests that have been created and completed. It's just going to take a couple moments. So here we've got every manifest that were completed in the last 2 weeks or so. So starting from the 6th all the way to today. So what you want to do now is actually hop over to our settings page and create our first pay schedule. So what the pay schedule is going to help you do is generate statements automatically and also help you group manifests into those statements. So in here, we've set the default such that manifests are grouped by completed date. You can see here that there are also start dates and bill dates. Complete date is most common, so we've gone for that as our default. So I'm just going to call this the weekly pay schedule. It runs every week, and the last day of this pay period is today. And I'm also going to pay my drivers tomorrow. I'm just going to move this. I can't see the screen. Perfect. So once I've created my schedule, I'm going to assign it to the driver, John, who just completed that manifest. So what you're going to see in John's settlement report is you're going to see a pay schedule here. So if you click into it, you notice that there is nothing on this screen yet because we haven't moved any manifest into the statement and we haven't generated any recurring payments or adjustments. So to do that, you'd want to go to the Teams page. And first of all, I'm going to go to John's profile, and I'm going to set John's fuel card number. And this is important for mapping fuel purchases to him in order to deduct it off of his pay afterwards. I'm just going to call it 0123. We've got his pay structure that calculates his pay that you see on the manifest earlier. And I'm also going to enable fuel deductions for John. So any fuel purchase that are imported will be deducted accordingly on his statements. We'll also go ahead and add some recurring deductions. So the most common ones we hear are insurance deductions. So I've got 200 for John, and then we'll do another one Those are very common. Plate fees. Let's do $20. And we're just going to go and hit save on that. So if we flip back to our settlement reports, you'll now see that we have recurring statements. The recurring statement has now populated with both fuel purchases and insurance and plate fees. So if you wondered where the fuel card purchases came from, we do have a fuel purchase module. And so this allows us to import fuel from any fuel provider via CSV. So I'm just gonna redo it here so you can all see it. So I've got an import tool. I've downloaded our fuel purchase earlier into a CSV. Our tool is gonna automatically try to map your columns to the columns we have in our system. So for example, we have card 00123. That's going to map to our fuel card reference number, so on and so forth. So what you want to do is just kind of go through and make sure that we've mapped the columns from your CSV to the right columns in RoseRocket. We've also mapped it to jurisdiction here for IFTA purposes afterwards. I'm just going to review this, hit yes. It's going to take a few minutes to process, but in reality, it's almost instant. So here are the imports that we've just done. And so because we've put 0123 as John Friedel's fuel cart number, any fuel purchases made towards this cart is automatically mapped to John. 0124, we don't have a driver with that fuel card number yet, so this remains unassigned. And if you want to assign it to a particular driver, you can simply search for it and save it. And it will actually ask you if you want to save 0123 to this driver's profile for any future fuel purchases. So you'll notice that even though I've only mapped one fuel purchase of 124 to test driver, it actually automatically mapped the remaining fuel purchases to the same driver. So if we flip back to driver settlement and go to Salmon Reports, you'll see the 4 fuel purchases that we imported, the insurance fee deduction, and the plate fee. So that sets us up for adding manifests to the statement. So we're just going to go back. So this pay period ranges from April the 9th all the way through to April 14th. It was 14th. So what I want to do is I just want to do a quick review of driver's pay. So, just double check that these numbers look correct. And once you're ready, you can just go ahead and click move to pending settlement. So because we've set up an pay period for this driver, it actually skips pending settlement and goes directly into a settlement report. So you'll see here, this is all the manifests that we've just moved into this report, itemized by line item. We'll see a total at the bottom here of $22,927.71. It's been a great week for John Friedel, as well as some deductions from fuel and recurring deductions. So once you're ready to go, what you want to do is just click on the statements. You can view it. This is what the driver is also going to see in their app or email to them. We're going to just send it off to John. There we go. And John should get this both in his email and it's also visible on his mobile app.
So I'll show you what that looks like here. If I go over to the payments tab, those of you who are familiar with the payments tab right now will notice there's a new section called earnings. So if I go over there, what I can see is I can see all the bills that have been created for me through driver settlement. So looking here, I can see I have one bill for $21,000. I can see the payment date is supposed to be April 16th, as well as the payment period that this is referring to is April 8th to 14th, as Hami just created. I can see all the manifests that I've completed that are on this bill, as well as their totals and broken down by line item. If I go all the way down to the bottom, I can see all the recurring payments and deductions that are also part of this bill. So fuel purchases, insurance, all that is there. And I can see at the very top what my total is. And this bill is in pending status because it's not yet been paid. So if Tommy goes ahead and pays this, we can see how that updates on the mobile app. Payment was saved. So if I go ahead and refresh, first thing I can do is I can go back to my manifest and I can double check that all the manifests I completed are now paid. All the ones that were completed between April 8th and the 14th are now marked as paid. In my earnings tab, I can now see that this bill is also marked as paid, and I can neatly track my total payments. So for example, this week, I've earned a total of $21,000, which is a fantastic week. I can go to my monthly earnings, which are also the same, but as I get more bills in the future weeks, this will also continue to update and grow even larger. And as a driver, I have now complete visibility over what jobs I've completed, how I'm getting paid for that, as well as the total amount I've gotten paid and the status of those payments. So I am very happy.
Awesome. So that completes the demo for us today. We did want it to, make sure that everyone is set up for success. So here's some tips and tricks for setting up driver settlement for the first time. So the first thing that we want to call out is if you want to onboard to driver settlement, we recommend that you pick a pay period that is either currently still in progress or a future pay period. So for example, if your pay period ended on April 12th, 2 days ago, we recommend that you continue to run that pay period on the current process. And then from the 13th onwards, which was yesterday onwards, that would be still an active pay period. And so we would recommend that you start driver settlement on an active pay period or next week's pay period. So that's the first tip that we want to throw out. The second one is if you need to, definitely start with a test driver account. Nothing is more alarming for a driver than switching the way payroll is run. So recommend with a test driver, making sure that that worked for you before expanding it to all of your drivers. And then lastly, we're always here to help. So if you need help, please reach out to your customer success manager or your account manager to help you go through the setup process.